Hey, how's it going? Okay, so I get a lot of notes from people, a lot of questions on all, if you watch my YouTube videos, I'm all over the place on that channel. So it's weird too, because I'll get comments on videos that have nothing to do with the video content that the comment is under. This question came from one of my Instagram pages. I guess it was probably the Astro Tribe page. The guy sent me a note this morning. I get this question all the time. What's up, man? Good morning. It's how much should I expect to pay for a 4x4 conversion, on the Astro van? Well, it's kind of hard to answer because I don't know what your intent is. I don't know where you're going with it, how crazy you want to get. The Journeys Off-Road makes a shifter kit, goes in the floor here. You need that, and that kit is, I don't know, $200 to $300 or so. You have to go to their website because the numbers are always changing. You need an NP233C transfer case, which they also sell there, and theirs are rebuilt, but there's a rebuilt, but like the one I got from them, it was rebuilt, so it's all new inside, it's all shiny and new on the outside, but the one I got from them leaked. That kind of sucked. That's the thing I had to deal with. Some people will just buy one. They'll go to a junkyard and get one that's used, but you don't know what you're getting. You're going to want to rebuild that. So if you get one of those, what are you going to do? You can bring it somewhere and have them do it, or you can bench it and rebuild it yourself. Transfer case is not difficult. It opens up. There's your front gear for your front drive shaft. There's your rear. There's a chain that links them together. There's some clips and seals and whatnot. None of it is, uncomprehensible. It's totally doable. And pretty much anybody could do it, even you. So, just woke up, so I'm congested as usual. Anyhow, I don't know what's going to cost you. You have to keep in mind too, like every time as you do all these changes to your vehicle, it's going to bring up the next thing that you have to do to get it dialed in right? So I've shared my journey along the way, and of course I've taken it to an extreme. Now I haven't taken it to a full extreme. There's people that are out there that have put straight axles in the front. By the way, from what I hear from, real 4x4 guys that build custom 4x4 vehicles, they'll tell you that it's not worth doing that unless you're going to go with like a Dana 60 or something. If you're sticking with like the 44s or lower, you're better off just sticking with the independent front suspension, because this is actually pretty tough. Anyhow, yeah, so as you go along, there's all these things, and I've been learning them. Like, for instance, you're not going to just do a 4x4 transfer case swap and it's over, right? You're going to want to do a lift, right? And the lift doesn't really help you much, except that it allows you to put taller tires on. You people should see what's going on here in front of me. Oh my God, we're screwed. There's some big truck sitting in the road. There's cars coming at us, so we can't get around it. It's your typical Los Angeles morning clusterfuck. Anyhow, I'll just keep talking. So you want to do a lift. The lift doesn't do much. It doesn't give you clearance under the chassis necessarily. What's going to do that is taller tires. That's why you get the lift, and then that dictates. And you could put larger, re-indexed torsion keys on, which will allow you to, you're an asshole, which will, which will allow you to get a little bit of a suspension lift in the front, but when you do your lift, one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about, it was mentioned to me, it wasn't an issue until recently, when you do your lift, well, your yoke is going to slip out of your transfer case pretty substantially. which might not be a problem, but it'll get to a certain point where it could start leaking. So there's that sort of thing. You know, there's all, then you're running into an issue too with the taller tires with your gearing. What's that doing to your mileage? Now, a lot of people who are building these vehicles, they don't care. They're like, I want this to go off-road. I can't think for you. A lot of people who do what I'm doing, they want to turn into a pretty cool off-road vehicle. I mean, knowing that they're never going to really accomplish what a Jeep can do. Right? We all know that. But you can get pretty comparable. So you're going to say to yourself, you're going to compromise, and you're going to say, I'm going to do all these improvements, and it's okay that it's going to hurt my gas mileage. Others want to do some of these modifications, but retain MPGs, so they're not going to go crazy with tires. Now with me, as you guys know, I've gone through this new process where I put the 410 gears in, both transfer cases, new phone holder, and which I'm going to eliminate soon. You know, so I've got that with the 32-inch tires, and now that I've learned how to drive it, I'm getting really great fuel economy. I hesitate to discuss it because people don't believe half the stuff I say on here. There's a guy in particular, he's in all the groups. He's a funny guy. He's got a little bit of a screw loose. I think he's probably a nice guy. I think he recently had a kid's probably a few years old, which I think mellowed him out a little bit. He's got very strong opinions on the Astro van. He's built a bunch of them. I can't take anything away from what he's saying, but he's just one of those people who, you know, it goes the old adage, like, you can't explain yourself to people anymore. Like, once you understand, they only understand things from their own perspective. So, you know, that guy, he only sees things from the way he sees them. And he kind of poops on what everybody else does. Because he thinks he's the man. He thinks that he invented this whole thing about what we're all doing with the Astro van and changing it up and improving it. And, you know, no, that's not the case at all. People have been doing that forever. That's like, I got another idiot in front of me. That's like clunkers, the clunker world with bicycles. Those of us that build tribute clunkers. And the mountain bikers. You know, the old school, the guys that are older than me that started building clunkers that actually created the mountain biking world. You know, the way that they discuss it, or the way that other people discuss it once they start learning about it. And everybody hears about the guys from Marin County that, you know, Gary Fisher, Charlie Kelly, Joe Breeze, Tom Ritchie, Wendy Craig, all these people, they were doing it there. They got noticed, right? News crews went out and filmed them. They've written books. They've done all these things to promote it. Gary Fisher, I mean, what he's done for mountain biking, it's amazing. But he did it for himself too, which is good. It's capitalism. They were hippie capitalists. But the thing is that the rest of us all over the country, we were building our own mountain bikes, right? We were taking Schwinn varsity frames, spreading the rear end, putting fatter tires on them, doing whatever we could to build bicycles that would do what we needed them to do before you could go out and buy a mountain bike. When I was a little kid, I remember the big kids talking about Schwinn varsity frames and spreading the rear end on them. So people have always been doing it. Yeah, no one guy could take credit for it. It's stupid. But anyhow, what's it going to cost you? You should have $10,000 at least sitting there if you want to take an Astro van, do a 4x4 conversion, do a lift kit, do the torsion keys, do all your suspension work that you need to do, replace your shocks. You're probably going to get new wheels and tires. I mean, new wheels and tires, that could be at least $2,000 to $4,000, $5,000. Just depends on what you're getting. That's just tires and wheels. So you can't think about it in an inexpensive manner. You could do it. The fuck was that? Man, this place really gets to you. What are you doing, man? Anyhow, I'm just saying, you can do it inexpensively, and you could do it piecemeal like I did it, which is what I recommend. And it's the greatest thing about the Astro van, is that the parts are out there, the kits are available now. There's a whole aftermarket, you know, thing going on with real legit businesses. Not all so legit, you know, But the stuff's out there, and it's easy enough to work on. People complain that the Astro van is hard to work on. Any van is hard to work on. And when I say hard, it's not hard. It's, you know, a pain in the ass, slightly. That's all. It's a little bit more difficult than other vehicles, just because of the, you know, doghouse situation and everything else. So, you know, that's just how it is. But anything could be done, and you could do a lot of the work yourself, like I do. And when I have the money, I do pay people and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, asking me this question all the time, I can't really answer it for you, because I don't know what it is you really want to accomplish in the end. You have to be way more specific with me, and then hopefully I have the time to answer you. I like trying to help everybody out. That's the whole purpose of me making the videos in the first place. So, excuse me. Again, what's it going to cost you? I don't know. You could go to the Journeys Off-Road website and look at their kits and see what those numbers are. Figure it out for yourself. If you've got friends that can help you out, like 4x4 World, that sort of thing, that's awesome. I don't know. You know, it's going to take you to another level with that. And it's all going to depend on what you want to accomplish. You could do it for a little less money. You do it for a little bit more money. But you're talking about a vehicle that is, it's already, the last one made was in 2004. So no matter what you get, you're going to have to do work to it, just regular maintenance and the bushings and the front end suspension, all that stuff, shocks, all these things that are going to come into play. So I don't know what your van is. I don't know the condition it's in. I don't know if the person had before you did all the regular oil changes, everything else. I mean, I've got a new transmission, new transfer case, new front and rear gears. I mean, the only thing left in this thing is the engine, and thank God it's running pretty good. But eventually when this goes, I'll put another one in. That's the thing. People will talk about value on these things. You know, they're saying, hey, what can you get out of it? You'll see these crazy numbers. You'll see there's this green one with a shitty pop-up. He never shows pictures. It's been in the groups lately. I think he's asking 15 grand. People are laughing at him. And they're laughing. It comes with all this cool stuff in it, but the build is garbage. It's total garbage. It looks like it's a money pit. It's probably got all kinds of little gremlins in there that you have to deal with. So they're giving him grief because of that, which is legit. That's the thing. You know, it's just one of those things. If you I'm seeing people buy these things, do some work to them, and then they're selling them. I'm seeing a lot of these for sale now, and people want higher numbers for it. It's because I think they get into it, they spend all this money on it, and they realize, oh man, now I have to do this, now I have to do that, now I have to do this. And then they look at the inside of it, and it's not really what they wanted for a camper van, because it's very tiny. You've got to be okay with such a small space, right? And most people who want to do a camper van don't really like the small space. So they would actually prefer a full-size van, something with a pop-up, maybe the Sprinter, something you can stand up in. They discover that after they get this, after they've already dumped money into it. So they made a mistake. So it's not for everyone. Like, you got to get one of these things and just dial it in so you can drive around in it and camp out of it and make sure it is what you want before you actually jump into the 4x4 conversion and everything else, right? Yeah, you got to be smart about it. Having said all that, the Astro van is a bitchin' vehicle. The footprint of it's like the size of a Subaru. It fits in pretty much any parking space. If you don't go too high on the lift, you can still get in most of the parking garages. So, you know, if you understand what it is and you know how to do it and you don't mind spending money, you can really dial it in. Now, even with me with the MPGs, I spent at least $5,000 on, you know, powder coating another set of wheels, getting a 32-inch tire, re-gearing this thing to 410 gears, and you guys have followed along with all the nonsense that has caused me. Oh, by the way, a couple people keep asking me about the slip yoke elimination kit, and I couldn't find one for the NP233C. They make them for Jeeps. Turns out Dave found a link for me. So there is a kit, but their kit is only the part that where you have to take the transfer case apart, and you have that, you got to replace that spline spindle thing in there. So you have a yoke, a U-joint connector that sticks out the back of the transfer case, right? It transfers the slip, because you need slip, you need movement, to the drive shaft. The kit from this website does not include that drive shaft. I'll talk to Sergio at some point and ask him about that. Hopefully he'll have the time to research it for me, because he might be able to build me that thing that slides in and out. You know what I'm talking about? That sliding in and out thing. You know what I'm talking about? The sliding in and out thing. I gotta be me, indullible me. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyhow, it's gonna cost you whatever it costs you. Just be prepared to spend some money. Have a stack of cash sitting there already. Know what you want to do. Plan it out. Be methodical. I've given all this advice before in my other videos. It's got to be safe to drive. Your engine's got to be good. Your training's got to be good. Your suspension's got to be good. You have to have the right shocks. You have to have all that stuff first. Boom. Maybe save up, buy all the parts over time, and then do it all in one shot. I don't know. Everybody's different. So, but I'm just saying, thousands of dollars is what you're going to spend. Thousands. It could be, you're going to start off spending a couple grand, no matter what. No matter what direction you go. Then you're going to spend a couple more grand. Then you spend a few more grand. Then you spend another $1,000. Then you spend a few more $1,000. And before you know it, you're going to spend 20 grand on your van to give it a lift and wheels and tires, a transfer case, and make it 4x4 and all the shit that I did. And then you're still going to need to dial stuff in. That's just how it is. With me, like I've said before, I'm not married. I don't have a wife or a girlfriend that's just bleeding me dry. Don't have any kids that I know about. So my money is my money, and I can do what I want with it. And that's what I do. But that's me. You're not me. Aren't you lucky? Aren't you happy? Aren't you dancing a jig of happiness right now that you're not me? This comes with a whole other set of issues. So that's the only way I can answer it. Have a great day. Be good to one another. There might be something happening this weekend. So the next video you see on the Astro van may be something finally big. I'm hoping. But I'll leave that for then. Bye.